evening and thanks for being here. And for some of you, you may have nowhere to go. Some folks flooded in. We've seen widespread flooding and high water continue to be a problem and increasingly become a problem throughout the morning and afternoon and evening, and still rain to come and snow thereafter as temperatures will fall and then of course make a big change. We'll go from wet to white, and we'll see several inches of snowfall on the back side of this on top of flooding. We have a winter storm warning in effect from 7 o'clock this evening until 1 o'clock on your Thursday. We have also, per the National Weather Service, a flood warning for much of the viewing area until 3:30 in the morning. This forecast does indeed cover all bases. And we'll be talking about your weather in more detail. We'll take a look outside. We'll talk about some conditions. A major rock and earth slide earlier today, an auto accident, a woman ejected from her car in McGoffin County, and a whole lot of other news, including a gubernatorial candidate who was in Sayersville last night for a fundraiser. We'll have that exclusive interview and much, much more. A lot of news to try to work into just a half hour this evening. So bear with me. We'll get to all of that and more. And we'll start by taking a look outside and some situations earlier today, including that before-mentioned auto accident and earth and rock slide, in addition to seeing what water levels were doing and where they're expected to go.
It was more than just rain slicking roads that drivers had to worry about today. Everywhere you look, from ditches to culverts to creeks to the Licking River, everything was either at or over capacity. Ditch lines like those along the Ivy Point Hill, well, just couldn't handle all the water, along with all the natural debris and, of course, the garbage left behind. Pooling of water like this is a common sight and just one of the many cautions that motorists have to deal with. And traveling 460 west, this is just a common sight. The river out of its banks, the entire stretch, and in some places it's much more noticeable and much closer to the roadway, which means an auto accident that may involve a car leaving the pavement could be something much more serious than it is usually. On that note, a single vehicle accident did happen earlier today on 460 West. This near the bottom of the hill there, just as you go up to the top of the hill where the Morgan-McGoffin County line is. A female driver, I do not have her name as of airtime. McGoffin County Sheriff's Deputy Jonathan Holbrook is working the accident, but she was ejected from her vehicle, he tells me. There's the vehicle, and there's Officer Holbrook pointing to where a motorist came upon the accident and discovered the driver lying after being ejected from her passenger car. It's my understanding she was the only occupant. Now, she was talking and alert at the scene, but she did suffer serious injuries and possible signs of trauma. She was taken by ambulance, helicopter, of course, not an option in this weather, to an area hospital for the severity of her injuries. We do not have an update on her condition as of right now. We'll try to learn more about her tomorrow in hopes that it was not life-threatening injuries that she sustained, but she was ejected from this passenger car. The reason for the vehicle leaving the roadway also still unknown, but it obviously happened at a time when roads were, of course, inundated with water. And this is one of those troubled spots that I mentioned and referred to a moment ago, just down from that accident scene. To the left of your screen, to the far left, you can see there where the small bridge, if you will, earth bridge goes over this waterway, the stream there beside the road, and it's blocked up. Water can't get through, so it's going around. It wasn't spilling onto the roadway at that time, but it was very near to doing so. I spoke with Rescue Squad Captain Carter Conley just before sitting down to do the news. He said 867 near Oakley was blocked in some areas, as well as Kane Road. Cow Creek off of Johnson Fork was also seeing some water cross the roadway as well. And with rain still falling to the tune of possibly another half inch or so, or maybe even more, we're still talking about 6 hours or so from the rain at the head of the river around Tip Top to make it to Royalton, then another 6 or 7 hours from Royalton to make it into Sayersville. So we are a long way from seeing water levels crest from where they already are, and they're already high enough. Here, another situation caused by all the moisture. This hillside on Route 1081 near Lyons Grocery inundated with water, and the rock and earth hillside gave way. Fortunately, the bulk of the rock and earth gave way into a widened parking area and did not affect any motorists. And from what I could tell, no vehicles parked in this area, but it did take along with it a very large tree, or two, actually, maybe even more. And one of those that came into contact with utility lines was certainly causing some issues. It's not to say that both lanes weren't blocked for a period of time until the State Highway Department could come and clear the tree and debris. But as you can see, the majority of the earth and rock staying off of the roadway, but utility lines pulled very near to ground level, and motorists have to forced to have to make their way around and navigate around the situation until it could be removed. And other common telltale signs of high water while flooding in the Ramey Park when I was a kid was a common sight to the nth degree. Of course, the cut-through alleviated much of that, and we don't see it near as often anymore, and only in those extreme circumstances, but it was starting to become an issue earlier today. So now we'll move on from high water that's expected to crest still late tonight. Well, technically not until very early tomorrow morning or in the morning hours before we see these water levels officially stop rising. But between now and then, we'll see the switch over from all of this rain turn to snow. I have logged 2.74 inches for this rainfall event, and we're still counting.
And still a great many headlines to come. We'll begin those after these messages. Turning to neighboring Johnson and Floyd counties, two couples from each county making headlines. In one case, a development in a case. It comes from the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, who has forwarded us the following information. Two people are still being sought after, a male and a female. The male still considered to be armed and dangerous, says authorities. They were believed to have fled the scene of a traffic stop and arrest in a vehicle that has now turned up, torched, and destroyed in Lawrence County.
On February the 23rd, the Johnson County Sheriff's Department and Paintsville 911 received a call of a suspicious vehicle in the Kentucky 825 Swamp Branch area, identified as a black passenger car. The caller telling authorities that the vehicle was driving slowly in front of homes with the vehicle's lights turned off. The caller also advised that the vehicle had then left that area and was last seen on Kentucky 2039 headed towards US 460. At that time, Johnson County Sheriff's deputies Byron Fairchild, Kenneth Prater, and Justin Webb responded to that area, and Byron Fairchild observed the vehicle on US 460 traveling 61 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. A traffic stop was initiated. A male driver behind the wheel was identified as a Jerry W. Preston of Boone's Camp. He was found to be driving under the influence of drugs after field sobriety tests were conducted, and was also found to be driving on a DUI suspended license. And while Deputy Fairchild was communicating with the driver, a backseat passenger in the vehicle jumped into the driver's seat and then fled from the traffic stop in that vehicle. The vehicle was entered as stolen, and deputies soon thereafter identified a suspect in the case as well as a passenger also being wanted. As for the initial driver, Jerry Preston was arrested and lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. Days later, the Johnson County Sheriff's Department was asking for the public's help in finding two individuals, the male that they believe jumped into the driver's seat and fled on the night of that traffic stop, as well as a female passenger. James Neal Cisco of Mealy, Kentucky, and Susanna K. Moore of Lomansville were identified by authorities. Cisco, considered to be, per the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, armed and dangerous and a convicted felon. Cisco had a warrant for his arrest on theft of an unlawful taking, automobile under $10,000, and fleeing or evading police first degree in a motor vehicle, while Moore was charged with theft by unlawful taking of an automobile under $10,000. Now the Johnson County Sheriff's Department tells me they were contacted by the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department just a couple of days ago in reference to that very same vehicle. It was found on Coal Creek Road in Lawrence County, but not in the same condition it was last seen by Johnson County authorities. The Lawrence County deputies advised that the vehicle was burned beyond recognition, but when running the VIN number, which was still intact, the vehicle was identified as that stolen vehicle from the case involving Neil Cisco and Susanna Moore. Both Cisco and Moore, I am told, are still wanted by the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, and tips from the public regarding their whereabouts are greatly appreciated. They also say, as always, you will remain anonymous. You can contact the Johnson County Sheriff's Department at 789-3411.
And in Floyd County, the story of the arrest of two shooting suspects from Kentucky, from eastern Kentucky, in Texas, related to a Floyd County murder late last year, actually begins and goes back to when the alleged shooter was on the run with his young son before the murder ever took place. Meanwhile, authorities in Amarillo, Texas, though, have confirmed to us tonight that they have arrested Floyd Jr. Sexton and Jennifer Gail Jernigan, two of three suspects who were wanted in connection with a fatal shooting in Prestonsburg this past November. One has already since been jailed. But Amarillo police arrested them after a traffic stop last evening. The two, and as well as two children, were in an '06 Saturn View that was stopped. The 33-year-old Sexton and 40-year-old Jernigan were discovered to have arrest warrants related to the murder, and authorities in Amarillo took them into custody where they are awaiting extradition. And police also say in that car was a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old child. believed to be the 8-year-old son of Sexton, who was being sought after for several months.
Late last year, police started looking for an 8-year-old boy and his father, Junior Sexton, who hadn't been seen in their Letcher County home since sometime last October. Nicholas Sexton and his father had been living with Junior Sexton's mother, identified as Lily Mae Adams, who reportedly went to authorities sometime last October, said that she and her son had gotten into a disagreement and that he had left with his son and hadn't been seen since, even though the custody agreement she says that was in place said that the father and son must live with her in order for Junior Sexton to retain custody of his 8-year-old boy. The Letcher County Sheriff's Office entered Nicholas Sexton and Junior Sexton into NCIC as missing persons as part of the investigation. Then a few weeks later, police in Letcher County got a tip that Junior Sexton had been seen in the Prestonsburg area, but authorities in both counties, even though an extensive search was done, were unable to find him. And soon thereafter, a murder took place. Sexton is accused of being involved in that Floyd County murder of Bill Russell Collins. Police in Floyd County say that Floyd Jr. Sexton shot 36-year-old Bill Russell Collins of Leeburn twice outside a closed pediatric clinic just outside of Prestonsburg. They later arrested a 28-year-old John Tate Maggard of McRoberts, charging him with complicity to murdering Collins. Sexton and another individual, Jennifer Gail Jernigan, were believed to have been at the scene and have been sought for by authorities for several weeks now. Police believe that Maggard helped Sexton wrestle with Collins as they were trying to hold him in a vacant house in that part of Prestonsburg. And they also believe that Sexton later shot Collins 2 times and then left the scene in a vehicle that was driven by Jernigan. Hence the complicity to murder charges against her and the murder charge against Sexton.
As for Sexton and Jernigan, their extradition is still unclear at this time. They are lodged in the Potter County Jail in Texas near Amarillo, while an extradition hearing has been set for later on this week. As for the 2 children, they have been taken into custody of Child Protective Services, and authorities are trying to locate, or were as of airtime obviously, their family members. Now, they also tell us, that being authorities in the Floyd County area, that per their investigation, they believe that Maggard, who was already jailed, and Sexton had some sort of an altercation as they were trying to hold the deceased in a nearby vacant house, and that's when the murder took place shortly thereafter. They believe that Sexton was the gunman and that Jernigan was believed to have driven the getaway vehicle when he left the scene. Collins, of course, was found lying dead in the parking lot of that abandoned pediatric clinic on Route 321 that day. We'll hear remarks from gubernatorial candidate and your state agriculture commissioner James Comer in a few moments in an exclusive interview. Right now, let's see what's happening on tonight's community calendar.
A reminder, the McGoffin County DAV Chapter 15 is set to meet tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. All veterans urged to attend or call for more information. Now, this meeting is still on schedule. It's my understanding as for now. You may call 272-0826 to find out more about the DAV Chapter in McGoffin County, or to find out tomorrow evening if the weather is going to force cancellation. The meeting is set to take place in the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center. And I'm just now realizing that when the weather flickered off, I have reverted back to some old announcements. I had corrected this one. The McGoffin County Extension Service has fruit and vegetable plant orders until March the 20th. They had a grafting rootstock class tomorrow. I've already erased this, but like I said, the weather changed that for me. They'll have another one soon, and I'll let you know when that is. You can call the Extension Office 349-3216 for fruit and vegetable orders. And for the Sagersville Kiwanis Club, they're taking nominations for Citizen and Group of the Year. If you have someone you'd like to nominate for one or both, call the Kiwanis, excuse me, not call, but mail those nominations to the Kiwanis at P.O. Box 62 here in Sagersville. And my announcement about the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church has been taken off as well, I am seeing. So let me just tell you, the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church is picking and grinning this Saturday at 7 with the True Gospel Echoes, and Pastor Butch Whitaker and everyone invite you to come on over. With that said, the following announcements are brought to you on behalf of the McGoffin County Funeral Home in lieu of local obituary services. 62-year-old Ronnie Ray, known as P. Ronnie Miller of Whitley Road, passed away on today's date, the son of the late Willard Miller and Lanny Vanderpool Wireman. He survived by his wife Angela, son Virgil, and daughters April Dawn Gamble and Brandy Jo Hickman. Visitation is going to be after 6 o'clock tomorrow. It'll continue all day Friday, and prior to services, they'll start Saturday at 1, all of which from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. with burial afterwards at the Wireman Cemetery here in Sagersville. Once again, services in honor of 62-year-old P. Ronnie Miller.
Jack Comer has served as Kentucky State Agriculture Commissioner for some time now. He's also served in Kentucky politics for many years prior to, and he's also one of several individuals and a handful of Republicans who are on the May primary ballot for Kentucky governor. He was also in Sagersville last night for a fundraising event, after which we had this exclusive interview.
This interview last night on what was then 78 days before the primary.
We're inside of 80 days before the primary. So all of the organization that we've put together over the past 5.5 months is starting to be activated. People are making phone calls. We're getting great crowds everywhere we go, like the one we had here in Magoffin County tonight. Lots of energy, lots of excitement. Every poll that's come out has showed me in the lead. My running mate, Chris McDaniel's been very well received all across the state. You're seeing Comer McDaniel bumper stickers on cars in every county in the state. So hopefully everything's going in our direction, and I'm here tonight just asking people for support, trying to continue to build the organization and hopefully creating a pathway to victory in the primary on May the 19th and then again in the general in November. Well, I was a state representative for 11 years, and let me say first, I'm a businessman. I have a large farming operation in Monroe County. I'm a director of a bank, so I have a tremendous private sector background. I've also been in state government. I've been a state representative for 11 years. Now I'm in my 4th year as Commissioner of Agriculture. I've worked closely with a lot of the leaders in eastern Kentucky to try to help create jobs and add value to what people produce. We came up with the Appalachia Proud program. What that means, if you see the Appalachia Proud symbol on something, it's like the Kentucky Proud symbol with the Appalachia Proud on it. That means that product is a Kentucky Proud product produced or manufactured in eastern Kentucky by an eastern Kentucky farm family or an eastern Kentucky small business. That's something that the Chop Shop up the road uses there in Lee City. They use the Appalachia Proud brand and many others in this part of the state. That's to signify that it came from eastern Kentucky, because a lot of people want to support eastern Kentucky. If you go to Lexington, you're going to find a high percentage of people that they may live in Lexington, but they grew up in eastern Kentucky or their families in eastern Kentucky, and they want to support eastern Kentucky because they realize that the policies of Barack Obama have really held eastern Kentucky back and hurt the economy in eastern Kentucky. So I've tried to work with eastern Kentucky to try to create jobs, help farm families as Commissioner of Agriculture, and I want to do that as governor. So we at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture pledge to act as a resource for our colleges and universities to develop the next big agriculture enterprise here in eastern Kentucky.
We saw a Senate race that brought to the forefront on a grand scale a lot of issues facing eastern Kentucky and a lot of the state as well. What do you foresee the issues in your gubernatorial race as being, and do they differ as to what you think they should be?
Well, with respect to eastern Kentucky, I'm the only candidate that's running for governor, a Republican or Democrat, who's actually sued the federal government and won. I sued the Obama administration and won. You have every candidate, especially on the Republican side, saying, if I win, I'm going to sue the Obama administration. I've actually done that and won. Very few people in America can say that. I'll do the same with their ridiculous regulations that are holding hardworking families back in eastern Kentucky. The Obama administration and you know, many of the people in his party in the state have let policies be enacted that are hostile to the private sector. They've caused families to break up. They've caused families to have to pack up, and move out of eastern Kentucky to go to other parts of the state for good paying jobs. I want to reverse the trend. I want to go back and say we're not going to abide by these EPA regulations that have held our coal industry back and our hardworking farm families back. And I did that as Commissioner of Agriculture. I'll do that as governor. I want to attract private sector investment into the state. And let me say this about coal. I believe in coal. I believe there's a future in coal. But I also believe that we have to diversify the economy in eastern Kentucky. We need to have good paying factories in this part of the state. We need to attract young entrepreneurs to start new high-tech businesses in Eastern Kentucky. And as governor, I will go above and beyond to try to attract that type of investment into Eastern Kentucky to help create good paying jobs for people in Eastern Kentucky.
And now for a brief update on 15th and 16th region boys and girls basketball. Starting with the 15th, boys action has yet to get underway. Entire first round action starts Saturday at the Expo Center. First game at 1. Sheldon Clark and East Ridge, then Lawrence County and Allen Central, then Shelby Valley and Johnson Central, then South Floyd and Pike Central. Next round semifinals will be Monday. The championship for the boys 15th region is Tuesday of next week. Now the girls have seen some scores posted after games between Belfry and East Ridge. Belfry on top 72-63, and then 73-30 was the final score for Johnson Central and the ladies of Betsy Lane. So it is Belfry and Johnson Central on Friday night. And Shelby Valley was ousted by Sheldon Clark 46-42, and Prestonsburg was victorious over the ladies from Lawrence County 61-48. So the second game of Friday will be the ladies from Sheldon Clark and those from Peaburg. The girls' championship is Sunday afternoon at 2:30 at the Expo Center. And checking in with our Cougars down in Morgan County in the 16th region for the boys, it doesn't start until Thursday night. Morgan County taking on Ashland Blazer in first round action, 6:30 at Morehead State. And of course, the ladies from Morgan County didn't make it into 16th region action, but we'll get you caught up on everybody. And I'll be attending, hopefully, at least the championship games, weather permitting. That's all I've got to say. We have, of course, warnings everywhere, a winter storm and a flood warning in effect. And as you've seen, conditions have been deteriorating throughout the entire day, and it's only going to get much worse, maybe even much faster.
I have picked up here at the studio another 1/4 of an inch of rain just in the time that I've been sitting here putting this program together. I've been closely monitoring the weather station to my left, and it is just continuing to tick up and up. We're right now at a full 3 inches of rainfall for this event, and you can see still some more of that heavy green, that yellow, and that red still on radar. Still a rain event to come for the next short period of time. For a few hours possibly, we'll start to see a mix. We'll start to see some changeover, and you can see that line. And right now, the National Weather Service, and I'm going to go along with them on this, has for tonight, we have snow accumulations and sleet of 2 to 4 inches, and then another 2 to 4 inches of snow and sleet, but mostly snow, obviously, tomorrow. So a total of 4 to 8 inches of sleet and snow, with a majority of the sleet falling, of course, during the changeover and onset of what will be a major snow event, a big, heavy, wet snow. Power outages are a primary concern, and travel. We're talking about roads, which have got ponding and flooding, and now we're going to pile several inches of sleet and heavy, wet snow. It's just a perfect time to not be on them. The McGoffin County Rescue Squad is making emergency runs, but they're hoping that everyone will just sit tight and wait out either the water situation you may be facing or the winter weather situation that we're all going to be facing. And since we've got more of it on the way, why not put it back up for the background? As far as temperatures are concerned, tonight we'll see temperatures fall to around a low of 21. We have that 2 to 4 inches of sleet and snow after the rain, and then we also have winds out of the north around 8 miles per hour. And your Licking Valley forecast for the rest of the week, not so good, certainly tomorrow, and that's not a misprint. We're going to have snow mainly before 3 o'clock tomorrow, and temperatures falling from that low of 21 tonight to around 16 by 5 o'clock tomorrow. Northwest winds 6 to 8 miles per hour, and that additional 2 to 4 inches of snow is possible tomorrow evening. Things will start to clear up, mostly cloudy, becoming mostly clear skies by your Thursday night, but a low close to 0 at 2 degrees, and then here's your Friday, a bit of a rebound, certainly drying, 32, and sunny, a low of 10 degrees on your Friday, so the snow that's here will stick around for a few days. The peak of the forecast comes next Tuesday with a daytime high of 57 degrees. We've still got a long way to go to get there. My only hopes are that everyone can stay inside, stay safe, and stay warm, and be sure to tune in back here tomorrow night for another edition, a white one, of Your News Today. Thank you all for being a part of the show. Hope to see you then.